As you can see here, we've got some of our sleeping pads. That's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to go over all the details of that, as well as do a giveaway on a pad. So stay tuned. Again, if you're tuning in on Facebook, we are going to have a slightly better quality production on YouTube. So if you do want to jump over to YouTube, you'll be able to just maybe have a little bit better audio and a little bit more crisp video. But so while we're kind of waiting for people to jump on, I wanted to go over a few quick housekeeping things. A lot of people have been asking us about some of our up and coming products that we have, which I just wanted to lightly cover some of the products we're going to have before the year's end. Obviously, we're going to be having the pads before the year's end, but a couple of the other products we've got side about a month and a half from now. So it's start of we're going to see both bug nets and hand sizes come in. Also, you're going to see us release some videos here soon about some of our down quality. We got up with we're going to cover some videos here shortly. You'll actually be able to see some where we've talked about some of the hydrophobic downs that we've been putting in the mummy pods, making that change for materials. So those are updates have coming. Is everything good? Are we good to go live? Start diving into some of these other questions?
Got about 20 people on right now.
Okay, so we're definitely seeing better quality on YouTube. I've got Riley and Dave behind the camera. For some of you know, I don't know if you know any of our videos, but we'll get him in one. He's handling a lot of our customer service stuff. He's an extremely knowledgeable backpacker. So if you ever have questions, make sure you're reaching out to support out or else on the day we'll be able to help you answer those. I wanted to give a little bit behind the giveaway really quick. We're going to do a giveaway video as discussed when we our new process. We have an outstanding giveaway for a tarp, and Mark Price is going to be the winner of that. Mark, if you want to email us, that'd be great. We'll reach out to you otherwise. And then we have a Outdoor Vitals insulated bottle, an Arctic bottle that we are going to give away as well, and that's going to Carter Collins. So Carter, if you want to reach out to us as well, otherwise we'll reach out to you. So those are the two giveaways we're going to talk about now. We do have a mummy pod that we're going to be giving away here shortly as well. We're not going to do that over this video. So that kind of takes care of some of the housekeeping. So let's dive into the sleeping pad itself. So as I got to work designing the sleeping pad, there were a few functions that were really, really important to me. Obviously, the size of the sleeping pad as well as the weight are always important for a backpacker. So those went into it. But what I had issues with some of the other pads on the market were how thick they were. So I'm over 200 pounds and I'm a side sleeper. And anything that was 2 inches thick, I was hitting the ground on. I was hitting rocks with my hips and having issues with that. And so it was kind of a constant battle for me with comfort. So that was one thing I was taking into consideration when we're making these pads. Obviously, they've got to have a good R value and be warm. For those of you that don't understand R value, that's just the rating or warmth temperature of a pad. And then I backpack with my wife a lot, so I wanted it to be able to couple together as a double pad, but I didn't want it to be a full-time double pad. I wanted us both to be able to pack in our own gear or camp separate or do whatever we wanted, but to be able to make those mate together to make a full-size double when we needed it. And then obviously with all of our Geared Outdoor Vitals, we wanted it to be affordable. So that's going to be into the design as well. And the end result is what we have here before us. So we've obviously got two pumped up right here. Do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, we're just audio.
No audio?
Choppy.
Just choppy. I think there's some upload issues, but people are saying it's better.
On Facebook or YouTube?
YouTube. We got 5-6 comments saying it's better now, so.
Okay. So if the audio panned out, I apologize for that. If there was something you wanted to hear, you'll probably be able to go back and cover that and rewatch the video. But now I'm going to kind of dive into the details on these pads. So as you can tell here, we've actually got a regular size pad on top and then a larger wide pad on the bottom. And I just kind of want to dive over the sizes first. So I'm going to set these down. So on the sizes, we've got what we call our regular pad. Our regular pad is going to be for someone 6 foot tall or someone who doesn't mind their feet hanging off the bottom. It's going to be 72 inches long and 20 inches wide. Now on the outside of these pads, the last baffle here is an oversized baffle. So on the regular size, it's 3.5 inches thick, while the middle baffles are 3 inches thick. So still plenty of room on those. On the larger size pad, which never mind the colors at this point, we'll go over that in a minute. On the larger size pad though, we've got 3.5 inches thick in the middle with almost a 4.5 inch thick outside baffle. Now the outside baffle helps cradle you onto the pad and make sure you're not falling off. And so those are kind of the sizes. So the long wide was meant to be obviously longer and wider, but the other benefit that we got out of it is a little bit thicker. So if you're a little bit heavier or a little bit taller, it's going to be the best pad for you. Kind of a side note though, after reviewing these and laying on them myself, I'm about 6'2", 6'3". I actually think I'm going to be using a regular quite a bit. My feet may hang off just a hair, but it's not going to cause me any cold spots or issues. It's going to be a hair lighter. So just kind of think about that as you are looking at some of these. So those are the sizes. Now let's look at some of the compressed sizes. So compressed sizes, these are both, well, this is an uninsulated regular, whereas this is an insulated regular pad. So size-wise, you're seeing a little bit difference in size. Not a huge difference though. They're roughly the same size. Like I say, maybe an inch kind of in every direction with this that you might add to it. And I mean, the size of these is just extremely small, so very, very packable. The other cool thing to note though is these compression sacks are 12 by 21 inches, and so the usable space in them is about 30 liters. And so what I did in this bag right here is I have my sleeping pad down here in the bottom, and I stuffed in a Summit 20 on top of that, and still had room to be able to roll that over and seal it off. So now I've got my sleeping pad and my sleeping bag in the same bag. It's completely waterproof, and so I feel very safe having it next to my water bladder and things like that. Or if you were rafting, this would be a good option. Even taking your sleeping pad out of here to put your sleeping bag in here for travel would be worth doing to keep your down protected from water. So that's kind of a side benefit of having these pump sacks. So for those of you that aren't as familiar with our designs, what we're using here is a pump sack. So this connects directly to the sleeping pad, and it clicks in there, it's connected, it's not going to come out. And then you would use this portion of it to trap air and force that into the sleeping pad. So when you're using a thick, big sleeping pad like this, inflation is a big deal. If you try to blow these up by mouth, it's going to take you a long time and be pretty grueling. So what you'd simply do is you'd open up the top, blow from a distance, and then you're going to roll that air down and into your pad. It makes inflating it a lot easier, but then also it keeps condensation or moisture from your breath out of your pad, which can have harmful benefits to your pad over time, as well as reduce the warmth of your pad over time, or when that moisture is in there. So that's how you're going to inflate that, and I'll show you the valve here in a minute. So let's go over weights. That's something that people are really concerned about, is weights. So each carry bag is 3 ounces. So add that to the pad itself as I go through the weights if you're interested in doing that. I'm going to be listing just the pad weight on its own. That way when you go out and compare it to others, you're comparing on an even scale. So with the pads, just to note, all of the charcoal ones are insulated. All of the Coyote Brown colors are uninsulated. So obviously the uninsulated are going to be slightly lighter. So let's go with the uninsulated. So this is an uninsulated regular. It comes in at an even 1 pound, or 16.5 ounces. So you're right at 1 pound with that. An uninsulated long wide is going to come in at 1 pound 6 ounces, or in other words 22 ounces as a whole. An insulated regular, so that would be like this one. An insulated regular is going to come in at exactly 20 ounces, or in other words 1 pound and 4 ounces. And then our biggest, heaviest pad, which is still pretty dang light, is 1 pound 8 ounces, so exactly 1.5 pounds, or in other words 24 ounces. Again, that's kind of the Cadillac though. That's this one underneath here right now, which is a long wide with insulation in it. So weight wise, you're coming in ultra light for sure, but you're getting the same comfort as sleeping on a big mattress. What about R values? So let's go over R values. Obviously, the insulated ones have no rated R value. We're not going to rate those because there's no insulation in them. And those are going to be better for summer type camping, where the temperatures are typically above 50 degrees, maybe even above 60 degrees. Now, for 3-season type camping, you're going to want to have the insulated model or the charcoal models. The charcoal colored models, we're going to rate an estimated rate of 4 R value, of 4.0 R value. How we came up with that estimate is we looked at what other people on the market were rating their bags at, and with how much weight of insulation they're putting in it. We actually increased our insulation weight compared to others so that our R value would be higher, but we rated them the exact same as others. So when we actually get this officially rated, I'm hoping that it's going to come in more like a 4.5 on the R value scale, but for right now we're just going to estimate it at a 4 R value until we can prove that through outside testing of our pads. Also, with the weights, I just wanted to touch on the material itself is a 20 denier ripstop. It's a polyester ripstop, so it's a really light material, but it does have that ripstop in it to add strength, and so that if there ever was an issue, it's very fixable because that ripstop's not going to allow it to spread. So that's the material construction of this. Again, if you're tuning in and you have questions, we're going to cover questions right at the end. So if I don't cover anything, make sure you've got those on your mind and you can write those in. Dave and Riley here are watching the comments, so they'll be keeping track of those, and then we'll be able to cover those at the end as well as go over the giveaway. So keeping going down this, let's talk about making this a double pad. So that's part of the criteria is a lot of times you're backpacking with a partner, and so I wanted to make that a possibility to do. So what we did is we actually used a plastic button system, and all of the buttons are going to start on this corner with the logo here and run down this way. And the reason that that's important is this is a long wide pad, this is a regular pad, but you can still mate them together. So if I was going, I might be on the long wide pad while my wife is only going to be on the regular pad, but they still mate together. They're still going to connect together. The pads aren't going to be slipping all over. So that's how that works. Again, you've just got 4 snaps, 4 plastic snaps running down that side. Adds almost no extra weight, but allows that to connect to others, which I found is really nice because when you've got 2 separate pads, again, you can use them if you go backpacking alone ever, and then you can obviously keep your packs separate and pack in your own gear that way. So to reiterate that, any 2 pads that you buy are going to mate together, whether they're long, wide, and regular, or insulated, uninsulated, they're all going to be able to connect together. Okay, we already talked a little bit about pump sacks. Again, those are going to be 30 liter in size, and you can stuff a sleeping bag inside of those with them as long as you've got a very compressible sleeping bag. Let's talk about the quick inflate valves. So I talked a little bit about how they function, but let's go over when you deflate these. It's a matter of you pop this off and it's not going to deflate. So there's actually a valve in here you have to push, and if you're going to deflate them though, you reach in there and you can pull that out, and then it's completely open and it's going to drain the air extremely fast. So that's really good for both inflating and deflating. I think that is all I was going to cover on the sleeping pads themselves. Obviously we talked about how these are going to connect together so that they can inflate. So I'm going to go ahead and jump over and talk about the pillows really quick, and then we're going to get to your questions. So we're really close to getting to the questions. So this is our pillow. This only weighs in at 2.6 ounces. Sorry, not pounds. 2.6 ounces. Comes in very small storage sack. That storage sack adds another 0.3 ounces. So all in all, you're still under 3 ounces, even if you are carrying it that. The material on this, though, is really what makes this special. It's a 30 denier, a 30 denier nylon with spandex in it, so it stretches. I wish you could feel this. You'll have to order one or to try this, but it's extremely moldable and flexible, which also makes it really durable. So I'm not necessarily going to recommend this, but I've used this as a seat cushion on some sharp rocks and things like that, trying to test it, and I've never been able to pop one. They're just really, really durable. But the extra benefit of this is this material is going to be a lot more comfortable than a material like this on your face. So there's some pillows out there that have material more like this. It's just not going to be that comfortable on your face. It's not breathable. It's a foreign feel compared to a pillowcase, whereas this is going to feel very much like a pillowcase. It's going to wrap around your head a lot more, cradle your head a lot more. If you can see there, it's a little bit wider on each side, so it's going to cradle your head more, gives you a nice cutout for your ear, and then it's going to feel very comfortable because it's going to stretch, move with you, and feel very natural on your skin. And then, like I said, I use it as a seat cushion. It's very durable. It's just a really neat pillow. I've previously have not used these, and I've just used clothes inside of a stuff sack. And after using these, this is one thing I don't leave home without. It just helps me get a lot better night's sleep. And for 2.5 ounces, it's well worth the wait. So, okay. Last thing that I'm sure all of you are wondering are prices. So we did create the listings over on the website. These aren't going to be available right away. Again, we've airshipped these in to give you kind of a sneak peek on these. The finalized units will be here sometime, we believe, in around November. They're under production right now. We've still got to get them boat shipped over to us. So we're expecting them sometime around November, if we're lucky sooner. If not, maybe the end of November is kind of a worst case scenario. So what we're going to offer is we're going to be offering a discount for those of you that watch this video and enter in your email just to get notified when those are available. We're going to offer you a discount when those are available, and obviously with the shipment, we have a finite number coming, so you're also going to be able to get one of the first productions of them, whereas when they're sold out, there may be another month or two gap before you can buy them again. So you'll have the opportunity to buy the first lots. You'll be notified before anyone else. And then more importantly, though, you'll be getting a discount if you hop over to the sleeping pad product listing on our website and punch in your email. So prices. Start with the pillow. The pillow is going to be listed at $19, $19.97. So it's going to be very affordable. The pads. The pads are going to be ranging. I was actually quite interested to see the pricing as it came in. The pricing, it actually wasn't the insulated versus the uninsulated that drove the price, it was the size. So for a regular size in either the insulated or uninsulated, they're going to be coming in at around the $70 price point for the regular sized models. For the long wide models, so the Cadillac models, they're still going to be under $100. They're going to be somewhere in the $90 to $100 range upon initial listing. Now, if you hop over to the product listing and punch in your email, you're going to be notified first, and you're going to be getting a discount when we do launch those. So obviously your prices will be even below that. We do feel like these are very affordable since the companies that we are competing with on the quality of these, they're more in the $150 to $200 price range. So we feel like we're able to provide a very good value on this. Okay, so that's all I was going to cover. Let's jump over to some questions. We're going to let Dave tell me what some of the questions you guys have are. And if you have more questions, go ahead and start entering those now.
So one of the recent questions is, how loud is the sleeping pad? Some people say that, their pads keep them up at night and things like that, which I think these aren't nearly as some of those higher end.
Yeah, so the question is loudness. How loud are these? And I'm sure they're talking more of the insulated models. And the reason that that's a question is there are some sleeping pads out there that basically have an aluminum foil or the same type of material that you'd see in an emergency blanket, that really crinkly material that reflects body heat. These do not have that in it. They're using a standard high loft synthetic insulation. And so there's going to be no noise issues there. There's not going to be any of that crackly type of noises that you're going to have.
And then if you could just go over the R value again, it looks like some people might have missed that one.
Okay, so some people missed the R value, so really quick. The charcoal color is going to be the insulated model. The R values, we're giving them an estimated ranking at 4.0, which is a 3-season rating. What we did to come up with that estimate is we looked at other competitors and other products on the market. We took how much insulation they were using, and we took what they were rating them at. And so we looked at people that were rating theirs at about a 4. And then we actually increased our insulation on top of that. So we're hoping that when we actually get these third-party tested, they're going to come in more at a 4.5 R value.
And then, do we have any plans to come out with a top quilt? And if so, would they snap to those pads?
Okay, that's a good question. Top quilt is in the works of getting designed. We haven't actually talked about snapping them directly to the pads. We have talked about having an option, obviously, to wrap around the pad and snap in place. But that's a good thing for us to look at as far as when we go to design. I'm not sure if there's enough snaps to make it work perfect, but we'll definitely look at that when we come to finalizing the top quilt.
Another question is, will it come in mummy style?
So as of right now, these are all going to be a rectangular style. Part of the reason for that is so that they can mate together and make a double. But I do see us over time starting to round off some of the edges, and maybe in 2018 we will actually make a full mummy style that would not be as ideal for connecting two partners, but we could probably still make that work and shave off a little bit more weight. So as of right now, it's not going to come in a mummy style. But hold on to 2018, we may see some other variations coming.
Okay. And that's basically it for that stuff. A couple questions that are off topic. Bug net release date is one of them.
Okay. So before I jump into some of the more off-topic questions, really quick to reiterate, we are going to do a giveaway. So the giveaway on this video is going to be for any style sleeping pad, and I'll throw in a pillow as well. In order to be entered into that, leave a comment if you're on YouTube. If you want additional entries or you're already on Facebook, leave a comment. It's going to give you one entry on Facebook. If you tag a friend, for every friend that you tag is another entry on Facebook. And then if you share it, the shares will also be considered an entry, but we're going to count those as 3 entries. So Facebook, there's 3 ways to get entries into this giveaway. Sharing it, worth 3 points. Tagging a friend, worth 1. And commenting on the video is worth 1. If you're on YouTube, make sure to comment in the video, and that will give you an entry as well. Again, that will enter you into winning a sleeping pad of your choice with the pillow. So, off-topic question, someone asked about the bug net release date. Unfortunately, we kind of missed the bug season, at least for Utah, but we are going to have our spin on a bug net available around the last of September or the 1st of October. That's when we're going to be able to release that. At the same time we release the bug net, we'll be releasing some additional hammock sizes.
Another off-topic question. The 60-liter pack, someone wants to know if there is a separator for your sleeping bag.
Okay.
On the bottom.
So in our Rhyolite backpack, the question is there a separator in there? There's not a separator in the pack, partly because the way that we've designed it is to have an opening down the side so that you can get to the bottom, get to the top, but we do not separate it. We kind of cut that weight out of the pack, and so if you did want to separate it, I would advise just investing in some dry sacks or something similar to this, and then using those for more organization inside the pack. We felt we wanted to leave that out just to help cut down on more weight. Okay, I think that's all the questions we've had. Thanks for tuning in today. Again, guys, these are going to be released sometime in November. If we're lucky, a little bit sooner. We've had a few holdups with the factory. If you want a discount on these pads, and if you want to be the first to be notified, before we even notify the main email list or anyone else, if you want to be the first to be notified of these pads, make sure to enter your email in on the sleeping pad product page on our website. You'll also be able to review any of the technical features on the website. So If you have any other questions, make sure to reach out to support@outdoorvitals.com. We'd love to answer any of those questions, and then make sure to enter the giveaway, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to go ahead and close this down.